Well, hello there. Here I am under the car, under the Daytona project again. And there's the transmission, rear-wheel drive mode. There's the universal joint. And that's where it came out of, because now the drive shaft is going to have to be like 18 inches longer. So I have to go up to my drive shaft pile and look for a drive shaft that's 18 inches longer. Also, look, rust. Oh, rust. Oh no, whatever shall we do? Okay, now that we're over that, oh look, more rust. That I'm going to actually have to fix because that's on the frame, and that there, I don't really care about because my passengers can just wear waterproof shoes. And that I don't really care about because I can wear waterproof shoes, but that there, I'm going to have to weld in a little bit of a frame edge there. And I've got some good stuff on both ends to weld into, like, well, goodish, sort of, whatever. I mean, the bottom of the pan is pretty good overall, just it's got some issues. Yeah. So, we also got to do something about that exhaust, because directly above where the exhaust manifold pokes out on this side is the steering shaft, and we can't have those two things occupying the same space at the same time. So I have to either space it out from the engine or just build a set of headers that exit at a slightly different place. I might be able to get by with a rather sharp turn in the exhaust system, but I don't want to do that. Oh, crap. Uh-oh. Well, there's another problem. Shoot. I wish I'd have noticed that before I started bolting everything in. The damn oil drain plug is right on top of the differential. Derp. Aye. Now what? Well, when I pick this up a little bit more, because this has got to come up like an inch and a half or 2 inches, this will probably rectify that just a little bit. Then, if it doesn't rectify it too well, I'm going to have to put another drain plug in somehow. A drain plug that's more compatible with my current setup. Or maybe I'll just run a pipe out of it. I mean, it's awesome that I can lay underneath this thing and I can actually set a whole 5-gallon bucket under here without jacking it up. So that's where the transmission mount needs to go to. I got to make a new cross member. Well, or just move this one, because this one's a little bit short of there. Oh, I need a thicker one. I got 3/16 or quarter instead of 1/8. That'd probably be better. That was just a temp anyway. So I got to measure, do some measuring, measure how far back it is to that, and give it about 1.5 inches, or I'll give it about 2 inches of travel. No, we'll give it 1.5 inches of travel because it's already got down. It's down a little bit. It doesn't have to go very far in, but it does have to go in a little bit when I hit bumps real hard or something. Now this thing is going to be less travel than usual because it weighs half as much as it's supposed to. But, eek. I need to weld some on there too. Jeez. Stupid rust. I'll tell you, the stupid calcium chloride they're putting on the road nowadays, it just eats everything. I mean, it eats it while you spray it off, and it just gets into everything, and it eats it while after you spray it off even. It sucks. So there, that's the motor mount. I got to build a little bracket on from this spot in the frame up to that, and then do the same with this piece and the little square piece I've got. Now we got to do the same thing on yonder side over here. I was going to do it to the front here, this big old cross member, but the radiator needs that, 1, and 2. I don't want to bolt it to the body, I want to bolt it to the frame, and that's the body. So it's got to go from there down to that frame rail. That's not going to be, don't say the E word, I forgot. I accidentally unplugged some of the emissions junk. There's a couple of hoses and stuff. That's the evaporative test port. So somewhere I've unplugged an evaporative hose, and this goes to the gas tank. So I need to figure out where that attaches to so I can attach it to my new gas tank. See, it's kind of cockeyed here. Just leaning back a good bit. Now it's easier to see in person, but I figure it's about like that. That's maybe 8 or 9 degrees backwards. It'll work like that, but I'd like to straighten it out. Then maybe I can get the drain plug out of it or have to move the whole assembly out. The nice thing is I got tons of room back here now. If I need to, I can move it back a little bit. Hopefully not much. Or I can pick it up, move it up and leave it up. Or failing that, I can just pick it up, take the drain plug out, put a remote drain in, which I kind of want to do anyway because it seems like more fun. And that's how it'll sit. Now you can see, now that this cursed Daystar has disappeared, you can see how my little rubber things are holding her on there. I mean, it's not the best of things, but it's got some pretty good sized bolts to it, so that's good. And then there's quarters just to position it. This stupid tire keeps going flat. Oh, now you can see my heckamajig in the back, too. Yeah, I think. Let's see. Yep, there's the rubber hickeys on the back. There's another set on the opposite side. That holds the car up. I might put a third chunk in, but I don't like it because it makes it less stable. So I think it's the fender well, without the big motors on it, with just the original tires, is with these fully inflated, it's 45.5 inches off the ground in the front and 48.25 in the back, so that's good. I always want the front to be higher than the back, just because that squat thing looks really stupid, and I do not want a squatted car, unless it's got a heavy load on it, at which point I'll need to invest in better springs because I'm not squatting this thing. But looks like I've got enough room to do some things. The whole body needs to move toward the passenger side about 3/4 of an inch. You can see it's just off so slightly. That mark on the bumper is the middle, and that mark on the frame is the middle too. I measured it and it's off, so I got to pull it. I got a chain binder I can use to pull it back over, so that's good. Oh, let's see, what else am I cooking here? I think that's about it. Oh, this great big old hole here opened up. That's nice though, because I can use a chain binder on that hole and hook it onto the frame over here and use it to pull the body over on the frame a little bit and locate it where it needs to be. So for the first time in my life, a giant rust hole opens up somewhere and it helps. That's convenient. I need to put my little screw thingy back in there where I lose it. Well, it's on the tool holder. It should, don't ever think about saying that. Just put it back. One hard part I found out on this is the transmission shifter cable. It's down there, right there. It's at a funky angle. I hope it works like that. If it doesn't, we might have a problem. Or else I could take that out and I could put this motorhome column I got in there. Yeah, nice generator. Yeah, nice Dakota you got there. Whoa, hey, the tire stayed up. If you can read this, you have tetanus. Yeah. Look at this. That's weird, like the brand new tire was the one that leaked real bad, but now it isn't. That's good. Where am I going here? Oh, here's where I'm going. I'm going up. Upwardly mobile. Let's see. Ooh, burn barrel. I forgot that was down there. Oh, that's the one I accidentally forgot to put thermite in. All right. Welcome to drive shaft hell. Oh shoot! I should have measured that before I came over here. Derp. Anyways, I got as many drive shafts as I need. I bought like a whole pile of them off of somebody for cheap, and I'm glad I did because it's provided every single yoke I need to finish every project I have. So that's awesome. And there's the funky one. That one, I think that's off a Ford. There's a couple of little Jeep ones here somewhere, and then I've got a couple of S10 ones, and there's a couple of Dodge pickup ones here. Those Dodge yokes are kind of hard to find, so I'm glad I got a whole bunch of them. But that's good. And these kind of yoke goes into that kind of spline there, but there's a couple of different ones. I'm not sure what this goes into. It must be a different kind of two-piece drive shaft spline or something, unless it's a slip yoke. Oh, I wonder if it goes into that. I'll test them one of these days. I don't know. Well, I got enough stuff. Should be able to fix the rest of my enough stuff. So much stuff, my stuff's got stuff. Let's see. I mean, I got them all different lengths. So there's like a difference of 3 inches between most of them, so I should be able to find one that fits. If I can't, I can shorten it, just re-weld it, and be thou for the people. Oops, that's Full Metal Alchemist. Weld it back together, shorter, and function. Whatever. Oh, hey, look. Wood stove chimney. There's some perlite that I got. I was going to build a. What was I going to build out of that? Oh, a foundry. And I've got perlite back here, and I've got Portland cement that's somewhat still not solidified, and some play sand. So one of these days I need to put all those 3 things together and make a little foundry doohickey out of it. Oh, that's where that went. I got another yoke here. I'm not sure what that fits. I don't think it fits any of my stuff I got working on right now. It might be one of the Chevy ones. I don't know. Anyways, it's a yoke. I got a bunch of them. Yokes, drive shafts, whatever. I got a pile of them. I think there was 37 of them when I bought them. That was cool. And it was on sale for like a year on Marketplace. I was like, man, this guy has to have so many friggin' calls. It's got to be gone by now. And I looked, and I waited a while, and it was just not gone. I was like, all right, it was meant to be. So here I am with 80 million drive shafts, and I'm glad I bought those. You never know when you're going to need one of them. All right, well, that's enough of that. I'm going to go in the garage and tear some stuff up and do a little bit of welding with the stick welder, and hopefully not set myself on fire such that it's hard to put out. Breaks anything expensive. The self-repairing parts are cheap because they self-repair. I need to not break any non-self-repairing components of myself. That's the goal. And the power steering pump isn't going to be too bad to hook up either, because it's just a little short hydraulic hose I got to put on there. Maybe a cooler. I don't know. Maybe not. I think I'll run it without a cooler for now and see what the temperature sits at. And if it needs a cooler, I'll just get one. Whatever. I don't know. Well, that's it. Gotta go do some actual work, go do some measuring. It requires 2 hands. I don't feel like setting the real cameras up in the recorder right now. So I'll see you later. Hey, good news. I've assembled a drive line, and it is exactly the right length. So all I got to do now is wait until O'Reilly opens and wait till I get my parts in. Should be in the store at 11 o'clock this morning. Like my little Harbor Freight magnetic tray hickey that's non-directional. That's cool. So once O'Reilly's is open, once they've opened and they've had enough time to stock my part from the other store, I wonder what that noise was. Well, whatever. Anyways, once O'Reilly's has got my part in from the other store, that's a 354 U-joint that goes in there. Converts from a Chrysler Detroit 7260 U-joint to technically a 7290, but it's actually a GM R3 or 3R rear end. So that's it. It's got some clearance here. I think we might have to work on that a little bit. We're going to have to move that cross member up because it doesn't belong there and it's in the way anyway. But the good news is I reckon I've got it. It's the right length, and I just need to get the U-joint for the back. Is that 354? I think. Ouch. Pretty sure it's 354. That's about exactly the right amount of play, too. So that's good. All right, I'll see you later.